Hey Waffle Gang, I do hope you are well. My name is Mark and today we're checking out some more Reddit stories, and if you do love a Reddit story, why not consider hitting that like, subscribe, maybe that notification bell too, and let's crack on with today's first story. Much love guys. Now today's first story comes from FarCup9063 from the wedding drama subreddit, and it says, destination wedding for husband's granddaughter. He won't do anything to get his passport. Been married to my second husband for 27 years. He has 2 kids who I really like and get along with. One daughter has 4 daughters who are a bit spoiled. I made sure to give the granddaughters nice presents for their graduation gifts and have always been the nice step-grandma who is pretty much ignored by the grandkids. My husband does zero work on any gift-giving or travel arranging when we attend any of their events. That's all left up to me. We attended the weddings of the first 2 granddaughters, both of which were about 3 hours away. I arranged the trip, bought and wrapped the gifts and bought cards. We attended the event and I was again the nice step-grandma who is pretty much ignored by the grandkids. About 4 months ago we received a save the date card letting us know that the 3rd granddaughter will be getting married in another country in mid-2025. I have a passport but husband does not. I told him he will need to get a passport to attend this. He's done nothing. A few weeks ago, I asked if he really wanted to go to this, and he said yes. I reminded him that he would need a passport, so I went online to see what he needed to get that. One item was the date of divorce from his prior wife. He said he wasn't going to get into that. I said okay and dropped the whole issue. I'd been looking at airline flights and tickets would have cost about $2,000 for both of us. The hotel would be about another $1,000, all-inclusive place. The invite for the wedding is taped to the front of the fridge, and I'm not going to bring this up again. If he asks, I will let him know that if he actually gets off his butt and gets his passport, I will make the travel arrangements. Edit. I forgot to mention that the wedding is on a Wednesday, which means we'd have to fly out Tuesday and fly back Thursday. I cannot believe she chose Wednesday for a wedding day. OP gave an edit mini update which said, hey, thanks everyone for all the interesting comments. As you can tell, there's more going on than just the wedding. I'll be sure to post an update when he completely fails to do anything to go to the wedding, and therefore, we don't go. A commenter asks an interesting question to OP. They said, also, I don't know what the laws are where you are, but have you seen proof he's divorced, right? Because, fine, I have no idea what date my divorce went through, but I do have the printed out paperwork in my drawer, and I'll just look it up. This is some bizarre avoidance, and it would give me the willies, not gonna lie. OP says, I know for a fact the divorce went through, and I saw the paperwork years ago. I'm pretty sure it's final in 1996, but I don't know the date. It was odd that he said it that way. Then more on the divorce and proof. Lots of commenters seem to be fixated on that. OP said, I'm an attorney. I tried looking them up online, but records that old, from 1996, aren't usually available online. More than likely, it's stored on microfiche at the district court where this was entered. This will require a trip to the courthouse, filling out forms to request the old documents, etc, etc. Not difficult, but detailed and time-consuming. I'm just so tired of doing all this detailed, time-intensive bullshit for him all the time. I'm tired of spending my time on something I don't even want to spend money or go to. I'm going to do nothing, say nothing, and let the date come and go. However, I will now probably go look for the records just to make sure the divorce decree was entered. Someone says, understand so much, I'm concerned for you. Make the time, go look, if for no other reason than peace of mind. There is a reason why my age, 59 demographic, are the largest cohort getting divorced. 70% are women who are sick of this shit. We have to do it all alone. It's just easier to be alone than dragging an anchor. OP says, oh, I'm gonna find it just to be sure the divorce decree was entered. Then I'm going to destroy it and never say a word. And yes, I'm getting increasingly tired of dragging this anchor. Information on the kids. OP says his kids are actually from wife number 1, who passed away before I met any of them. His divorce was from wife number 2, but I don't understand why he will put no effort into finding the divorce date or working on the passport other than pure laziness. OP includes, actually the kids hated wife number 2. Yes, he's lazy. His kids and their spouses are very nice to me. I had a stepmother also, and I'm very careful not to try to be mum to them. I hated it when my stepmom did this. I just want to be nice, friendly, and not get in their business. Isn't that what a stepmother should do? Same for the grandkids. Someone asks, why are you still married? Opie says, but that's a much longer post. For those of you in your late 60s, long married, you understand that marriage to a flawed person is still better than being lonely. At least most of the time. Weighing the pros and cons, he still comes up on the pro side. Opie says to another commenter, yes, I do feel alone a great deal of the time. Being alone has never been a problem for me, but I still feel like being married to him. Opie says to another commenter, yeah, I have a backbone, but I also have a huge heart for my husband. I have no problem telling others to F off, and I've always been tough. I think this is the turning point where I'm totally done making any arrangements to make things easier on him. A commenter says, is it possible that he doesn't have the needed paperwork and is stuck in a loop because he has no idea where to start replacing it? Opie says he has enough knowledge to figure this out. I'm not even going to give him any pointers, offer suggestions, because there I go again doing all the mental work for everything. Commenter says to OP, no reason why OP can't go. She has a passport. If it was me, I'd go by myself and tell everyone exactly why I was unaccompanied. OP says, oh, the hell no. I'm definitely not going solo for a step-granddaughter who probably won't even acknowledge me. Commenter says, if you continually feel ignored by them, stop giving. It honestly sounds like a huge expense to attend for someone who treats you that way. Opie says, yeah, I'm done. Now that I think about it, none of them ever reach out to me. When we go to visit his family, they're always nice, but they have never independently reached out to me one time in all the time we've been married. Someone says, maybe they don't like your husband. He sounds kind of awful. Sorry. Opie says, hey, this is Reddit. I come here for the truth, not to have people be soft on me. Opie adds to the post. Actually, one person commented about the RSVP, and that we would have to advise them whether we were coming or not, realizing that I had previously RSVP'd. So now I have changed my position and will be contacting his daughter to advise her of the issue. That comment is buried somewhere in response to another comment. Yesterday was truly full of example after example of me having to do everything in this relationship, carrying 100% of the mental load, and I was just done. But today is a new day, and I'm going to be a better human. Someone said, I'm wondering what the appeal was here. He's lazy and can't be bothered to do fuck all regarding his own kids and grandkids. It sounds like he's using weaponized incompetence to get you to do everything. Why would a smart, accomplished professional woman put up with this shit for 27 years? He can't possibly be that good in bed. Opie says because it wasn't always this lopsided. After his cancer diagnosis in 2018, then chemo, stem cell transplant, resulting neuropathy and depression, he became more dependent. He's somewhat better now, but we both fell into the me doing everything pattern. For the last few years I've been trying to break that, especially with tasks that are not physical, require mental effort. Commenter says, wow, that's a lot of left out information. Opie says yes. For the last year or so I've been trying to get the workload more balanced, especially with just mental tasks. It's so difficult once partner has basically shouldered the whole load. I'm starting to think that even though he said he wanted to go to the wedding, that inside he really doesn't. Therefore he's going to use the passport excuse for why we won't go. Fine by me. Sometime after that post, OP did come in with an update and says, to all of you who commented before, thanks. This is the update and I know I'm setting myself up to get knocked about, but this is Reddit after all. 1. I saw the divorce decree from his prior wife, so he is indeed divorced and he and I are legally married. 2. Since that post, I've told him he needs to engage in the cleaning and taking care of things around the house. He's now responsible for one bathroom and I'm responsible for the other. He actually pointed out a cleaning method to me, and I said, great, do whatever you like. He's been frustrated by the new order around here and continues to do as little as possible. I've tried to remain cheerful and positive. 3. His daughter called to confirm we are coming. He said, of course, and later asked me, we're going, right? I said, when you get your passport, I will make the reservations. He looked dumbstruck. I told him the application has been sitting, right where I told him, and he denied ever hearing me say that. He started working on the application, then asked me if he had a birth certificate. I told him, I assume so because you were born. He asked me where it was and I told him I have no idea. Figure it out. He was getting frustrated. I went and fetched it from the files and angrily told him, here it is, and you can take care of this from now on. Yes, I spoke angrily. Yes, I slammed it down on the table. 4. He flipped out and threw a plastic bottle of salad dressing into the kitchen, and it broke and splattered all over the cabinet. 5. Like the mature adults we are, the rest of the day was spent in silence. I went into my office and he was again glued to the damn political news on the TV, just like he has been for years. He eventually cleaned up the mess in the kitchen. 6. I refused to cook for him, will not do any of his laundry. I had just changed the sheets on the bed, and I bet they are this time next year. I've taken up residence in the extra bedroom in my office, which are on one side of the house. 7. I'm not sure what will come of this, but I wish divorce from his prior wife had never been finalized. I would now be free. Financially, we're kind of stuck together, but I will work towards getting unstuck. Someone says to OP, update me about it if he gets it together in time to get his passport. I think someone mentioned in your previous post something about maybe telling the bride that he hasn't gotten his passport. If you're on decent terms with her, you might want to mention it to her anyway. If you don't tell her now when he doesn't get to go, he's going to tell her that you never told him, just like he denied you saying that you told him before. If nothing else, her getting on him might jumpstart him more than anything you do. Other than that though, I wouldn't do anything. Good luck. Enjoy your trip with or without him. Opie says the bride has been informed of the situation, because his daughter texted me later and I filled her in about the actual obstacle. She and I are on great terms, love her, and I told her no matter what happens, I will get the bride a beautiful gift. The editor on this post said, to prevent confusion, remember it's the granddaughter getting married, not the daughter. Opie is close to the daughter, who is the bride's mum. Commenter says, by the sounds of it, he never learned to do shit at home. Ask him if he wants to learn before he's on his own. It might not save your marriage, but you'd save a life, even if it's the next woman after you. Opie said, he's beyond saving. If some lady wants to pick him up later, she's on her own. I raised my child to be responsible and to be a partner in a marriage. It worked. Commenter says, seems you married a man-child. I hope he decides to grow up, but the chances are slim. Opie says, I did. Not sure what the future holds. Thankfully, I'd learned not to let it distress me too terribly. I have my friends and my work, source of good income. Commenter says nothing sexier than a man who throws a salad dressing bottle when asked to complete a grown-up task. Opie says, yeah, to his credit, he wasn't aiming at me. I admit I've thrown things in anger and frustration before. At least it wasn't the ranch dressing, which I don't eat anyway. Commenter says, congrats on your being very organized and thorough with this fortunate debacle. Am I correct in classifying MAGA rage to him? Opie says, he's on the other side. He's been massively depressed since the election, lol. I don't give two shits about politics other than to vote. Commenter says also instead of getting things like his birth certificate for him, if he doesn't know by now that important documents are stored in a file cabinet, either he's actually truly stupid or you married someone with disability. And the way to find out is to ask him. So after living with me for 20 years, is it because you're mentally deficient that you don't know where the important documents are? Or are you just stupid? I mean, you're not going to solve any problems that way, but it's sure as hell going to feel good and get a point across. Opie says, oh, mentally, I say a lot of stuff that would only serve to escalate the problem. Years ago, I moved a small 2-drawer file cabinet into our walk-in closet and told him that one is his, and his birth certificate is in there. It's the only thing in there. You literally open the drawer and there is one manila folder with his birth certificate. He does have ADHD and prefers not to do anything that requires organization and attention to detail, but that doesn't mean he can't. He can, but I have filled that gap for him so long he's become accustomed to it. Well, that has all changed and he's not handling it well. Commenter says, you have so much resentment. You need some counseling to work your way through this and maybe need to try couples counseling. Sadly, you've enabled him for years, and he didn't know you resented him for it. This isn't to blame you, but to point out a lack of communication. Opie says, confess this is true. Honestly, I didn't realize how much until I almost slammed that birth certificate on the table. I need to work on changing the situation and letting go of resentment. Holding on to that does no good. And Opie explains one more thing. Well, prior to my post was pretty much the start of my wake-up call. When I wondered, why am I jumping through hoops doing all the work for his passport when he's sitting over there cackling at the TV? I already have a passport. He's a grown man, and even though I'm better at paperwork, he's still fully capable of doing this. As usual, weddings just fan the flames of the usual relationship issues. And I thought that was going to be the end of it, but I checked OP's profile just in case, and 4 hours ago there is a brand new update, 4 hours from this recording obviously, which was titled Destination Wedding and Passport Success? Again, I want to thank you all for posted helpful comments. They really helped me work through these issues, and we have made positive progress on so many fronts. He obtained all the necessary information for the passport application and completed it. He did ask for my assistance setting up an appointment at the post office to have his picture taken and submit his application. Had to be done online, and doing anything through their website is wonky. We're going to the post office this morning. We've also had some polite, mature discussions about him doing his laundry, which he has done, and that we need to equally share the workload of the house. He had to do the grocery shopping by himself last week because I refused to go. He managed to wash a load of white. He even used bleach without destroying any clothes. He's been doing the dishes and made loaded nachos for us this weekend. Granted, it's still not 50-50 yet, but I believe we will get there. So, as soon as I'm done with this update, I'm going to make our resort and plane reservations. Looks like it's a go. I'm going to text his daughter that it looks like we will actually be able to go and celebrate with everyone. I'm not sure how I feel after that, because it just seems like such a twist again. I can imagine some people saying, they can't see it ending well, etc., but they've been together for 27 years. And if there's progress to be made, then I kind of like, well, why not? I guess the thing is just to continue watching it to make sure he does make that progress and it doesn't start slipping away again. But what do you guys make of this one? That one's really thrown me at the end. Let us know your thoughts in the comments below, and let's move on to another story. Now, our next story comes from a user called 053014, and it's titled, Me, 25 female with my husband, 30 male. I wasted some broccoli. During our relationship, 5.5 years dating, 3 years married, last night after I got home from work, he was relaxing on the couch. My husband walked over to me with some broccoli in his hand. It was turning yellow and clearly not good anymore. I thought this was for dinner tomorrow, he said. I guess it went bad. I'll get some more before dinner tomorrow, I said. He sat down on the couch next to me and said something like, Can you explain this? Can you explain what happened? I looked at him confused. He continued, When did you buy this? Saturday? Sunday? I said, Yeah, I think Sunday. What's going on? What's your point? He said, You bought this Sunday for dinner Thursday. This clearly didn't work. You're having trouble planning ahead. How can we solve this? I just stared at him for a while as he repeated himself, and finally, he dropped it. We've never really had an interaction like this before. It just seems so condescending and nasty, like he was my boss and I was at work and had done something wrong. It was such a stupid, petty argument, but it's the next morning and I'm still upset. Am I overreacting? Is he? Should I just try to forget this happened, or should I talk to him about it? What should I say? Edit. I appreciate all the support over what I thought was a really minor, petty issue. But how should I talk to him about it? Honestly, I feel kind of hurt and angry towards him right now. So how do I have a productive conversation with him about what's really going on, and not just attack him for being a jerk to me? Absolutely not. That would piss me off at the same time as well, with the can you explain this manager type talk. Like you said, talking to you like you've just messed up a major project in some company or something. What the hell is he thinking? Queer here says, maybe this is a pattern that he's been seething over for a long time. The anger seems disproportionate otherwise. Is your fridge generally full of rotten food? Are groceries eating up too much of a tight budget? Either way, mega condescending. Opie says, I don't think so. I think maybe he's a little unrealistic about food. Like, we probably throw away one piece of produce every 1 to 2 weeks. I think that's pretty reasonable. I make it a point to buy a lot of fresh produce, and it's just a little unpredictable about how quickly it goes bad. Or a lot of it I'll buy for general snacking, so I have no way to know the exact rate at which it will be consumed. Famous Monster says there is an adage. When a couple fights about the silverware, they're not really fighting about the silverware. This was not about the broccoli. Sit down with him and ask him basically what that was all about. Tell him that you're pretty sure it wasn't about broccoli. It may be a long conversation, but it's one you should have. Opie says, that was pretty much what I thought, so when he was talking at me and I kept asking, what is going on, what is this about? And he just wanted to talk about the broccoli. Spring Plum says, I would not be at all surprised to find out he's worried about finances or something like that and just isn't quite ready to talk about it yet. OP says maybe this is a stretch, but I gave him a really hard time this weekend about staying out until 4 a.m. and not telling me where he was. He totally accepted that he was wrong and apologized, but maybe he's trying to get the upper hand back by finding something to fault me for. I don't know. It's the only thing I can think of. Sometime later, OP comes in with an update and says, well, I found out what the problem was. He was cheating on me. Just kidding. You got me there, OP. Yesterday over lunch, we had a conversation about our new investment property, which we are still in the process of buying and renovating. I knew we were stretching thin financially to buy it, although my husband has worked out exactly how long it would take for us to be profiting from it. But I didn't know how thin. It turns out my husband took out a 0% APR credit card with a 10,000 limit and is planning to load it up until the investment property is rented out and making money back. My husband hates credit card debt, and the whole time I've known him, he has never carried a balance. I think this has been really stressing him out, and he took it out on me and the broccoli. Obviously, I wish he had been more upfront with me about the financials, but I do generally leave the money stuff up to him. It's his domain, and he has always done a great job with it, and I trust him 100%. Also, in the previous post, one person mentioned that he is probably in management. That person hit the nail on the head. My husband manages a team of people at his job and is generally very good at it. He has never taken his manager stuff home like that before, though. If something like that broccoli incident happens again, I'll have a talk with my husband about conflict resolution, but until then, I'm going to write it off as a one-time thing. Thanks for your help. You guys were right. Fifth Doctor says, don't scare us like that. Wasted broccoli is the leading cause of infidelity. User replies saying, it's a fact. And Chuck Norris, great name, says, I'm leaving you with some of my favorite broccoli dish recipes. Parmesan roasted broccoli. This is amazing making this. Caramelized broccoli with garlic. Oh, that sounds good. This broccoli and cheese casserole has gotten me laid on numerous occasions. And you have to search up the post if you want to get the links to those recipes. I felt it was relevant to share these because now that you've figured out exactly why he did what he did, you two can make broccoli kind of a running gag, and it can be something you two can look back at and laugh when you're making all that money on the rental property you got. Gee whiz, talk about getting steamed up over vegetables. Oh, I'm a sad bastard. Anyway, I'm glad that they was able to work things out in the end and find out what the cause of the issue was. It's funny how like a random item or piece of food or something like that causes a blow up in a relationship, and we always discover it's never about that particular thing. I think the famous Reddit one is the Iranian yogurt, isn't it? There seems to be a flare on one of the subreddits. Am I the arsehole, I think? Although I don't think we've ever actually covered that story. We may do that one day. But what do you guys make of this situation? Let us know your thoughts down in the comments below. And just a huge thank you for being here today, getting involved in the stories, your love, your support, your time. It always means the absolute world to me. So thank you so, so much. And hopefully I'll see you in the next one. Take care and much love.